Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you all enjoyed your Valentine's Day. I actually have a fever, but I'm trying to push through and film this last video for the what is it called? The attachment style series, okay? So this video is going to be about fearful avoidant attachment style and how to heal from it. I don't know, this video can get a little bit repetitive because this attachment style is pretty much dismissive avoidant and anxious preoccupied all combined into one. So I don't want to be too like repetitive or redundant in this video. So I'll refer back to the other two videos a lot, so I don't have to keep like, you know, repeating what has already been said, but I'll go into depth as much as I can, and then I will give personal insight because I wouldn't say I have this attachment style. I'm coming out of this attachment style, and I've noticed something like specific about this attachment style that the other ones don't have. Okay, so I guess we'll start out with fearful avoidant in depth. Now, a fearful avoidant person is someone who they see the value in a relationship and like a love connection, and they can become very codependent once they're in a relationship, kind of like an anxious preoccupied. But on the other hand, they also avoid relationships, kind of like a dismissive avoidant. So it's pretty much those two combined into one. So it's like, I want a relationship, I want to be in love, like I know how it is to be in love and how good it feels, but then I know that I have codependent tendencies once I'm in love, so I want to stay away from it. You know, so anxious preoccupieds, they will usually chase a relationship and they always have to be in one to get their needs fulfilled. And then dismissive avoidant, they will always avoid a relationship, or they'll give very little to their partner when they're in a relationship. But with fearful avoidant, it's like they don't chase it, but they know they want it, but they know they don't want it. It's like very conflicting, you know. And usually this is marked by a low sense of self-worth, like no self-esteem, low self-esteem I mean, and no self-confidence, and also like not just no confidence in themselves, but also no confidence in other people. And that's why I said this can get redundant, because I'll put up the chart so you can have a visual of what I mean. But that's why I said it gets redundant, because anxious preoccupieds, they think highly of their partner and then low of themselves, right? Dismissive avoidance, they think highly of themselves and low of their partners. But fearful avoidance is like they think low of themselves and low of their partner at the same time. So it's like a double whammy, pretty much. So people who are fearful avoidant, they have both deactivating strategies and activating strategies. If you watched my videos on the other attachment styles, you'll know that anxious preoccupied do this thing called activating strategies, where they'll feel their partner pulling back, so they'll do certain things to try to get their partner closer to them, like calling back to back, trying to make them jealous, thinking about their partners nonstop, like sometimes even resorting to stalking their partners. But then dismissive avoidance, they have something called deactivating strategies, where, you know, they pretty much use it to keep up a wall between them and their partner, you know. Deactivating strategies are more just like being sneaky, being secretive, having like relationships on the side, like trying to make their partner jealous as a way to keep that wall up. So like a way to push people away. So with fearful avoidant, they actually do both of these. Like when they feel their partner pulling back, they'll do the activating strategies, like being clingy, calling all the time, and like just, you know, being really stressed and anxious about it. But then when their partner gets close to them, they start to do deactivating strategies to like push them away, like stop calling, start being sneaky and secretive, like anything to put that wall up. So being with somebody like this, or being somebody like this, is very extremely confusing, because you just don't know which way is up. You're just like, okay, do you love me or do you not love me? One minute you're close to me, the next minute you're not. And this is different than dealing with someone who's emotionally unavailable, because people who are emotionally unavailable, they're pretty consistent with their emotional unavailability, you know? You might get little hints of love and affection here and there from them, but across the board, they're just like a closed off type of person. But a fearful avoidant person is just confusing, because like they're not closed off, but they are. Like they're closed off when you want them, but when you don't want them, they're trying to shower you with love. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. So in childhood, what this pretty much looks like is a parent not nurturing their child enough. So very similar to the childhood of dismissive avoidance. Just not getting nurtured, just being emotionally neglected. But the difference between that and the childhood of a dismissive avoidant is that a fearful avoidant, they just never develop this sense of self-esteem and or how to take care of themselves. So they don't write off relationships completely, but at the same time they kind of expect the worst out of people, you know? So dismissive avoidance, they build up this armor with them. Like they feel very like, I'm above relationships. And those are the people who tend to be like narcissistic and whatever. But fearful avoidants never quite get to build up that armor, because they just don't think highly of themselves. So they don't necessarily walk around like, I'm just beneath relationships, I can discard someone without a care. It's not like that. It's like basically like a dismissive avoidant who it doesn't have a high self-esteem. Put it that way. I guess that's the easiest way I can explain it, and I hope that's not confusing. So yeah, just not being nurtured at all in childhood, just parents being very cold and emotionally unavailable, and just not being there to nurture their child and not being there to raise the self-esteem of their child. That's how this attachment style can develop. Now, what I was saying in the beginning is that I noticed something about this attachment style. It seems to me that a majority of people who have emailed me, DM'd me about having this attachment style, it's like they all were saying the same thing, that they started out with another attachment style and ended up with this one. So it really made me think like, it sounds to me like it's less that this attachment style is actually concrete and formed in childhood, and it's more like you might have started out with a different attachment style and then had a very, very bad relationship, and then it turned into this. And that's pretty much my story, you could say, because my whole life I had anxious, preoccupied attachment style, like very clingy, very needy, and I always thought very highly of the people that I was with, but I never thought really highly of myself. So I always put them on a pedestal, but I just always had this faith in the people that I was with, and when they would do me wrong, I would just chalk it up to, you know, maybe I'm broken, I'm defective, like that's why they probably did me wrong, I should have did this different, you know. But then with my last two relationships, like the first one, which is the first video on my channel, is about narcissistic abuse. So with that relationship, after he did that, I moved sort of more into fearful avoidant. That was the first time I came to the realization that there are people out here who will make you fall in love with them, but they were deceiving you the whole time, and then they'll throw you in the trash. Like when I learned about narcissistic personality disorder, I was so shook, because I couldn't believe that like that type of evil actually takes place. I'm just like, I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Because it's one thing if a person you connect with, y'all genuinely fall in love, and then that person just messes up, and then, you know, y'all have to part ways. But it's another thing to learn that there are people who never had any intentions of having feelings for you at all. Like, they were purposely, like, playing a game with you. That just blew my mind, you know? Especially as an empath, I'm just like, I can't believe there are people like that. That's insane. But that's when I started to see other people in a negative light too. So that's how my attachment style switched. I went from seeing myself on a low point and seeing my partner as like on a pedestal to seeing people as low and seeing myself as low, which is what characterizes this attachment style. Because this attachment style also, it's the least amount of people have it. I think only like 5% of the population actually has this attachment style. So I genuinely think that it's because I don't think a lot of us have developed this in childhood. I think that it comes from once you start dating, something going wrong, and then this attachment style developing. You know what I'm saying? I guess now onto the healing part of this video. And like I said, this video is going to be way shorter than the other ones because like it's pretty repetitive, like because it's a mashup of the two. So my best advice I can give for healing is this, okay? The root of this attachment style is low self-esteem and lack of faith in other people, okay? And so it's like when you have this attachment style, you're almost always looking at people through this lens, right? It's like your vision is not clear when you have this attachment style because you expect the worst out of people and then you don't think highly of yourself. So the logical way to heal would be to raise your self-esteem and also heal any wounds that you might have from the past. Like any wounds that you acquired from a bad relationship, that has to actually be completely healed if you want to heal this attachment style. Because like I said, until it's healed, you're looking at everybody through this lens of like paranoia. Like, oh, what are you going to do to me now? Because the last person, look what they did to me, you know? And that's only heightened because when you have a low self-esteem also, it's like you're looking at people through this paranoid lens, and then on top of that, you don't even have faith in yourself to pick a correct person, or you don't think the correct person will even be attracted to you because your self-esteem is so low. So it's just like a double whammy. And the cure to that is absolutely self-love, like I've mentioned in these other two videos, in these other attachment style videos, because you're looking at relationships through the lens of fear, like fear that you're not good enough, fear that you're not smart enough, fear that you're not pretty enough, and basically like fear of abandonment, pretty much. That gets down to the root of all these attachment styles if you think about it. Like nobody wants to fall in love, especially when you have a low self-esteem. The last thing you want to do is fall in love, because then you know that person has the power to really like destroy you. If your self-esteem is already low and you see your self-worth through their eyes, they have a lot of power over you, and people with this attachment style are aware of that, and that's why the fear is so strong within this attachment style. So like I mentioned in the other videos as well, the opposite of fear is love, and that's the only thing that can really cure this attachment style. And not love, like not fake love, not conditional love that's on the surface, like somebody telling you I love you. I mean like real God-like love, like loving yourself unconditionally. And of course, if you believe in God, stay very close to God, because that's the only love that doesn't really waver. That's the love that won't stumble. Like that's divine love, you know? And every time you practice self-love, you are also loving God, because God created you, obviously, in his image, if you believe in God. You know, if you don't, whatever you believe in, apply it here. But you were made from love, like you were made perfect. So whenever you practice self-love, it's like more and more over time, you're dissolving that fear, because you know that, you know, you have the ability to choose the correct person for you. And you know that that person will also love you the way you deserve to be loved. When you truly love yourself, you can see that in other people. So the driving force behind healing this attachment style, I would say, is to completely love yourself to the point where you see the good in everybody, but you're able to set boundaries still because you love yourself. Like, just because you see the good in everybody, it doesn't mean that you have to delude yourself, or that people have the ability to trick you. Because when you really love yourself, it's like it's crazy how it feels, because when you practice self-love, your intuition heightens. Like everything that you need for a healthy relationship kind of blossoms, like once you practice self-love, because like you're more in touch with your intuition. You trust yourself way more to make good decisions, you know? You won't sabotage the relationships that you're in. You won't push the wrong people. No, wait. You won't push the right people away, and you won't pull the wrong people in. You know, once you are centered and balanced within yourself, it's pretty much easy to see who's for you right from the jump, before it even gets too serious. So you just develop this trust for yourself as you develop self-love, you know? So yeah, that would be my advice on healing. I know I have to make a whole video on self-love, because I keep on saying practice self-love, but you know, it looks different for everybody, but I'll definitely make a separate video on how. So to share a personal anecdote, how I really got over this attachment style, because I am in a very healthy relationship at the moment, and I won't speak too much on it because I'm just gonna smile through the rest of this video like a dummy. But it's weird because like my last relationship, like I said, the things that he did was so devastating to me. Like it really seriously killed me on the inside, and like completely broke me and shattered me to pieces. And he showed no remorse for it either. He just did what he wanted to do, and then that was that. And I had a hard time getting past that, because I was just like very extremely paranoid. Like I could feel my heart closing off. You know what I'm saying? So I was just my self-esteem took a plummet, and this attachment style just flared up even harder than it already had, you know? And once I made the decision to really cut ties with my ex, and not just cut ties with him physically, but like mentally and emotionally, I had to make the decision to not let that close my heart off and to not allow myself to become a fear-based person, because he was very fearful. Like, he was very fear-based. Like, he also is a fearful avoidant. Like, he has this attachment style as well, and he kind of transmuted that fear onto me, because I never really had the type of fears that I developed when I was with him. I never really took into account before. It's almost like he projected a lot of his fears onto me. And so I had to make the conscious decision to not let that rule my life and to not let it ruin any possibility of a future healthy relationship, you know? So if you have this attachment style and it's because, you know, someone destroyed you in the past, you have to really find a way to make peace with that, because without making peace with it, it's like you'll always see people through that lens, and you'll always be afraid of falling in love, and you shouldn't be, because we all deserve to be loved the right way. And it's really not fair that, you know, we go through things that cause us to be fearful of something that we were born here to do, or that's our birthright. You know, love is our birthright. So like I said, I'm in a healthy relationship right now, and the only reason I feel like I met him, sorry guys, my camera died, so if the angle is off, that's why. But what I was saying was that the only reason that I allow myself to even receive the love that he gives me is because I had to literally practice self-care and self-love and almost retrain my mind to tell myself, like, yes, I am worthy of this, and yes, I do deserve this type of love, you know? Because everybody deserves the type of love that they are willing to put out. So if you have this attachment style, but you know deep down, like, you know that you really, really do want love, you want to connect with people, you have that ability to do so. You definitely do. It's just you have to know that you deserve it, and you have to build your sense of self-love up to the point where you won't sabotage it when you receive it, and you will attract people who are just as loving as you. Like, the way you feel about yourself reflects outwards into your reality, okay? So if you are practicing a high level of self-love, that will reflect back to you with the person that you attract. Because the guy that I'm with, my man, he just has such a kind spirit. Like, he's just such a kind, like, loving person. And it's like, everybody has a shadow side and everybody has a light side. And a lot of times when we get into a relationship and it's the wrong one, it's meant to, well, I wouldn't say it's the wrong one, but it's one that's not healthy. It's meant to show us our shadow side, you know? It's meant to show us our shadow side so that we can heal those things. But with him, it's like my shadow side doesn't pop out. Like, the only thing I can see in him is the good that's in me. Like, he mirrors back all of the qualities that I actually like about myself, as opposed to my other relationships where they mirrored back the way that I wasn't loving myself. You know, they mirrored to me how I did not think highly of myself. But with my boyfriend now, it's just so different. It's so different. And that is just a result of choosing love instead of choosing fear, and putting in the work to build yourself back up, even though you might have been beaten down in the past, you know? Choosing to practice self-love to the point where you can accept love, the love that you deserve. So yeah, guys, that is my healing video for fearful avoidant attachment style, and I really hope that this helped a lot. I hope that sharing my personal experience helped a lot. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you find it helpful. Hit the subscribe button if you have not hit it already. And my comment section is always open, as always, so that we can share our stories and we can uplift and encourage each other. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.